Before we begin, I want to share a resource that can make your divorce process far easier and much less stressful. It's Hello Divorce. Hello Divorce gives you a guided, step-by-step path through your divorce with clear instructions, simple online tools, and support from real legal and coaching professionals when you need it. You get help with paperwork, access to affordable legal advice, and a process that is designed to save you money, reduce conflict, and keep you informed every step of the way. They've created a special page just for Divorce and Beyond listeners. Visit hellodivorce.com/Susan to explore their plans, pricing, and resources so you can see exactly what fits your situation. If you want a clearer, calmer, more empowered way to move through your divorce, start at hellodivorce.com/Susan.
Coming up on today's episode of the Divorce and Beyond podcast.
Day one is not about deciding everything. It is about learning enough to avoid mistakes. Because most mistakes made at this time are 100% avoidable with the proper information. Welcome to Divorce and Beyond, a podcast about navigating divorce and what comes next. I'm Susan Guthrie. I'm a divorce attorney and mediator, and for more than 3 decades, I've helped people navigate divorce with clarity, strategy, and compassion. Each episode offers practical insight into the legal, emotional, and life decisions that shape your future. So let's get started. Welcome back to Divorce and Beyond in 2026. Today is Divorce Day. It's January 5th, 2026. And if you are listening to this episode on the day it drops, divorce is being talked about everywhere. I think if you turn on the news, open up a newspaper, scroll through your social media, you are going to see the word divorce everywhere. It's talked about, whispered in conversations, and many people have been waiting for the holidays to pass for this word to come up and enter into their lives. And here's what I know after more than 3 decades as a divorce attorney and mediator. On Divorce Day, there's more noise than clarity for almost everyone. If you are out there listening, let me just say, advice right now is loud. There are opinions everywhere, and most of it is designed to provoke urgency, fear, or dramatic action. Know right now that this episode is not that. I am not here to tell you to file your divorce papers today. I am not here to scare you, and I'm not here to give you viral sound bites. I'm here to do what I have done for thousands of people at the very beginning of their divorce. I'm here to help you get oriented on day one. Because the first mistake people make on Divorce Day is believing that this day requires action. It does not. What it does require is understanding. So today, I'm going to walk you through the 5 things you need to know on day one. These are not legal loopholes. These are not tactics. These are the foundational truths that separate people who navigate divorce intelligently from people who spend years trying to undo a rushed beginning. So if divorce is on your mind today, this episode is for you. So let's start with the 5 things you need to know on day one. Thing 1, Divorce Day is about readiness, not action. Let's start with the most important reframing. Divorce Day is not about filing. It's about getting ready. For many people, the holidays create a pause in life, usually a bit of a truce, a mutual decision or an unspoken decision to get through one more season without blowing things up. But once that pressure lifts, clarity often arrives quietly. And that clarity on the relationship is what brings people here today. Understand that readiness is internal and action is external. Confusing the two leads to regret. I cannot tell you how many clients have said to me, I knew for months, sometimes even years, I just didn't want to admit it. So Divorce Day is often the moment when denial finally loosens its grip. That does not mean you need to do anything today. It means you need to stop pretending that nothing is happening. So day one is about orientation, understanding where you are emotionally, legally, and practically. Rushing into action before you understand the terrain is how people create unnecessary conflict, expense, and emotional damage. Readiness is not weakness. It is awareness. Readiness is a strength. Thing two you need to know. Information comes before you build a strategy. On Divorce Day, people jump straight into strategy. What will I get? Should I move out? Should I protect my money? What should I say to my spouse? All these things are running through your mind. Those questions feel urgent, but they are likely premature. The first thing you need is information. And this is not necessarily Google searches at 2 a.m. It's not social media advice from people whose divorce looks nothing like yours. And it's not worst case scenarios whispered by well-meaning family and friends. What you need is accurate, jurisdiction-specific information on how divorce actually works where you live. You need to understand the following: whether your state is a community property or equitable distribution state. What actually happens when someone moves out? What decisions are reversible and which are not? And what options exist for your divorce beyond litigation? And I promise you there are many more much better options. So know that information calms your nervous system because fear thrives in the absence of facts. When people feel panicked, and I bet you do, they make aggressive choices. When they feel informed, they make intentional and rational choices. Day one is not about deciding everything. It is about learning enough to avoid mistakes, because most mistakes made at this time are 100% avoidable with the proper information. We'll take a quick break right here for a word from a sponsor, but stay with me because in the second half of this episode, I am going to walk you through something most people get wrong on Divorce Day. I will explain why the very first conversations you have, the texts that you send, the words you choose or choose not to use often shape how hard or how manageable your divorce becomes long before anything is ever filed. This insight alone can save you years of stress and tens of thousands of dollars. But first, a quick word from our sponsor. You all know I love to treat myself, and my go-to jewelry brand is Yumi You. It's timeless, elegant, and the perfect reminder that you deserve something beautiful, especially for your beyond. So I'm excited to say my listeners get an exclusive discount at divorcebeyond.com/YumiYu, that's YUMIYU, by using the code BEYOND at checkout. Next, thing 3 you need to know on day 1. The way you start your divorce will shape your entire divorce. And this is one of the hardest truths for people to accept. Divorce does not begin in a courtroom. It begins in private moments, the moments that are going to happen from this day forward, in conversations, in texts, in emails, in what you say and what you choose not to say, and how you say it. The tone of your divorce is often set long before a lawyer files anything. And I have seen cases, so many cases, that could have been resolved collaboratively, respectfully, turn hostile because of one impulsive conversation that probably shouldn't have happened. I have also seen deeply painful situations de-escalate because someone chose restraint early. So another thing to note is day 1 is not about confrontation. It is about containment. You do not need to explain everything. You do not need to justify yourself. You do not need to convince your spouse that you are right. And you absolutely do not need to involve everyone in your life immediately. Every word you say early on either preserves options or narrows them. That's such an important phrase. I'm going to say it again. Every word you say early on either preserves options or narrows them. Silence, when used intentionally, is not avoidance. It is strategy. Thing 4 that you need to know on divorce day. Divorce is not one decision. It is a very long and complicated series of decisions. Divorce culture sells this idea that there's a single moment, the big decision, the dramatic announcement, the clean break. But hear me now. That is not how real divorce works. Divorce unfolds through dozens of decisions over time. Some of them are small. Some of them are really significant. Some are reversible, and some are not. Divorce day 1 is not the day to decide everything. What it is the day to decide is to decide how you will decide. Will you gather information before acting? Will you prioritize stability over speed? Will you protect long-term outcomes instead of short-term relief? You are allowed to move one step at a time. There is no prize for finishing divorce quickly if the cost is your financial security, your mental health, or your relationship with your children. Slowness and deliberate action, when intentional, is not delay. It is truly wisdom. And thing number 5 that you need to know on divorce day 1, your divorce team matters more than you think. And I do mean team. On divorce day, urgency pushes people to hire the first professional they speak to. That is understandable, but it is also extremely risky and not usually necessary. Not every divorce, in fact, most divorces do not require litigation. Not every lawyer practices the same way, and not every professional aligns with your ultimate goals. Some divorces do need strong advocacy, but more often, your case will need careful negotiation, perhaps mediation, and some emotional support in most cases before you take any legal action. Your team should be built intentionally. A good professional does not push you to escalate. So when you go to an attorney and they say, we're going to fight for you, we're going to take your ex to the cleaners, we're going to do conflictual things, that is pushing you to escalate. A good professional does not push you to escalate. A good professional helps you to see options, they explain consequences, and they slow down and slow you down when that is needed. That is strategy. Choosing the wrong team early in your process can cost you years of stress and enormous amounts of money. Day one is about taking a deep breath, identifying what support you need first, not committing to a path before you understand it. I want to pause here and talk about why divorce day feels emotionally loaded. Divorce represents uncertainty. It represents a loss of identity, and certainly it fosters fear about money, your children, and the future. When the calendar flips, people feel pressure to act, to be decisive, to prove something to themselves or others. But clarity does not come from that urgency. It comes from grounded understanding. Importantly, divorce is not a failure. It is a transition in your life, and transitions deserve care. Here's some practical guidance, what you do today and what to avoid. What to do today? Listen and learn. Take notes. Write down your questions, not necessarily the answers, but all of the questions that are coming to you. What if, what is, what will, all of those, sit down and write them down. Observe your emotions, feel where you are today, and know you don't need to act on that. And begin gathering your information quietly. One tip is that there are many episodes of Divorce and Beyond. We have over 400 episodes in the archive. Many of them are centered on the topics I have talked about today. Choosing your team, how to find a good coach, how to find a good lawyer, what the different processes are for going through divorce, how to have the conversation with your spouse about getting a divorce. There are literally hundreds of episodes there from the top experts to help you begin gathering your information. I will link to several of those in the show notes. Go to the website. You can search any topic in the archive to find the episodes. So to do today is start your information gathering, take that deep breath, and start to plot your course forward. What to avoid today? Making irreversible decisions. And that can be hiring that bulldog attorney. That can be moving out of the marital residence. That can be telling your spouse today that divorce is going to happen, or worse yet, have them served with divorce papers out of the blue. And that's another thing, making announcements fueled by emotion. Try to just let things be while you gather your information. Another thing is, before you move any money Understand what the consequences of moving that money might be. There are certain circumstances where you can move money, where you can do things, but don't do anything without understanding the consequences. Importantly, do not let the fear that you are feeling today, which is very understandable as you look forward into a changing future, but do not let your fear dictate your timeline or your decisions. And truly, do not assume that your divorce will look like anyone else's. Your divorce is your divorce, and the decisions you are making right now and the information gathering you are making before you make those decisions will have much more impact on the divorce you have than anything that happened in someone else's divorce. So listeners, if you are listening today on divorce day or any time where this is your divorce day one, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not late. You are not behind. And you are not required today to have everything figured out. Divorce day is not the beginning of chaos. It can be the beginning of clarity. Handled thoughtfully, this moment right now can lead to a future that is calmer, more stable, and more aligned with who you are now. Let me leave you with 5 truths to carry forward. 1, divorce day is about readiness, not rushing. 2, information calms fear better than strategy. 3, the way you start often determines how hard divorce becomes. 4, divorce unfolds through decisions, not moments. And 5, you are allowed to move one step at a time. If today is divorce day for you, stay with me here on Divorce and Beyond. This podcast exists for exactly this moment, to replace fear with information, chaos with clarity, and isolation with understanding. Because one thing I do know, after decades helping people through this process and to their beyond, is that divorce is not the end of your story. It is a transition, and transitions can be navigated with intelligence, dignity, and intention. If today's episode helped you see something more clearly, take a moment to reflect on one insight you can carry forward, one decision you can approach differently, one next step that feels more grounded. Divorce is not a failure. It is about facing reality and choosing a healthier path forward for yourself and your family. You can find show notes, trusted divorce resources, and expert guidance at divorceandbeyondpod.com. If this episode was helpful, follow the podcast and share it with someone who may need support right now. I'm Susan Guthrie. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back next time with more clarity, insight, and support on Divorce and Beyond.